Yep. Vlog number 2. Currently on Vancouver Island at Camp Thunderbird. It's been about, what's today, Monday? Like 3 or so days since my last vlog, which was on Vancouver, on the mainland. So just a bit of a catch up. Quite a lot of shit's happened since then. Obviously I got to sit in on Vancouver Island, and been really getting to know the people around the camp, who I'll be working with, and who will be my manager, and people in command. I think just quickly get a couple of things off that happened I don't really talk about, and that's like that was in Vancouver. It was 420 day when we arrived. I'm not sure if I talked about that, but we ended up like the next day actually scoring some weed and getting high. So that was pretty fucking fun. But I think a couple of the girls smoked it as well. One of them, Alex, who's here actually now. So that was, a good bitch. Yeah, that was really fucking funny. And we're all sort of in on it. There was like 10 of us. We're like, oh yeah, we're gonna go smoke some weed. Do you want to come? Do you want to come? And it's one guy in a group called James, who no one, he didn't really fit in that well, and like no one told him that we're gonna smoke some weed, because we kind of knew that he would say no, and I don't know, no one really wanted to tell him, so he didn't find out. We didn't tell him. We didn't invite him to come join us. So he was pretty quiet about the whole thing, and actually a really good friend that I made called T. I called him T. He's from New Zealand. He's actually going with James to the camp together, and he's really not happy about it. James isn't happy about it, but I'm sure he'll be fine. Also made another bro friend called I called him Ink. His full name was like Inklin, and I have no idea what his last name was. I can't pronounce it because he's Asian, and it's pretty crazy. Yeah. So that was a really fucking fun couple of days on Vancouver. I actually had a lot of fun, like heaps and heaps of fun, like good vibes, pretty much the whole time. And it's still pretty good vibes here now. I just need to get used to like the people, like the Canadian people. I don't know, they're just you have to get used to the accent. I have to get used to a lot of stuff. I'm sure it will work out. Yeah, so I think some dudes are arriving like tomorrow, who are gonna start helping us out with like stuff around the camp. So it's gonna be pretty fun. I'll be making like a lot of jokes. The people, so like I got Harry, who's a guy, New Zealander from down south. So he's a country boy. Yeah, he's a pretty good cunt. Can't stop saying the N-word. Like he uses it all the time, which is really funny. And there's an Aussie called I don't know why it skipped my mind right now, but his name is Zaya. So he's pretty fucking cool as well. And there's obviously the third chick called Alex. So we're all sort of like kind of in a group from Vancouver, and we're all just sort of being like they sort of get my jokes. They kind of find it pretty funny. But if I keep a straight face and don't let on that I'm joking, like the Canadian, like there's 2 Canadian chicks that have been sort of looking after us for these past couple of days. They have like no idea that I'm joking, but now they're sort of caught on. I've had a cold for ages as well, but they're sort of catching on now, so it's all right. But I've been making jokes, so it's now like a running sort of joke with the word moist. I don't know when I said it. I was like, must have said like, oh yeah, they're asking like nature names, and I'm like, I'll probably make mine Moist Stump, and they found it hilarious, and I'm like, yeah, we should all be like the Moist group. Like you could be Moist Log, you could be like Moist, Branch, Moist Dirt, and they all found it hilarious, and that's been like a running joke for a little while. So that's happening. Just today was it was pretty funny because Harry likes to joke around, I think I don't know who we're waiting on. We're waiting outside like the main dining hall, and this girl Laurel Laurel was sitting on like this bench, and with like a backpack on, above, just sitting on the bench, and Harry sort of comes up and he's kind of playing around, and like kind of like pretends to sort of like raise his boot up and kind of like push her off. She doesn't really react because she didn't really find it funny. Like no one really found it funny. And then he sort of like plants the boot and just sort of like kind of pushes her off. But she's very little, and it was fuck all force. But it was enough to send her like flying back onto her back, and no one said anything, mate. And I was like this. I was like I actually did that, and I turned around like to make sure I didn't fucking just laugh my ass off, and just like kind of walk towards the dining hall like, oh no, like fuck me. So that happened, and that's really been kind of the only exciting thing that's kind of happened today. Yeah, we've been sort of walking around the camp and checking out stuff, and we tried out the canoes, and we'll be going for runs. Well, I went for my first run today because yesterday I felt like so much shit. But we'll be trying to get up at 7 to go for runs, and the girls have been really looking after us well with meals all the time, keeping us fed and keeping us happy. So that's been awesome as well. But it's really quite controlled. Like there are a lot of rules, and pretty much if you ask if this is okay, they'd be like, oh, I'll just go check with Peter, who's the guy in charge. I'll just go check on Luke, and so but they've been here for years. Like they're brought up on this kind of stuff, so it's pretty normal. And old Harry, the southerner. It'll be interesting to see how he adjusts to that, because I'm probably going to bend a couple of rules. I'm not gonna, but we'll see how he does. I guess a lot of funny stuff to me has happened, but I kind of forget about it now. So it kind of been really that big of a deal. Oh, that's right. Fuck me. We're on Vancouver Island. We're going along. They've got this sort of walkway like we do, on the foreshore, going around. We're going around the island, and they have a cycle lane, and they have a walking lane, and sometimes even a rollerblade lane if things get pretty hectic. And so we hit that up, and we're going along on our bikes, but there's already enough room in the cycle lane, and I'm like, fuck it. So I'm kind of like down off onto the walking lane. I'm sort of going along, and I think Harry was doing it as well. I'm not sure if he copied me or he did it first. I can't remember, but we're kind of going along. And I noticed, he didn't know, Harry didn't notice, but I noticed that we're getting like fucking looks of just hatred, man, like pure, just like I couldn't believe some of the stares I got. But I didn't give a shit. And we're going along, and then like one of them actually openly was like, "Hey, that's not the cycle lane, it's the walking lane." And I was like, I think I said, I don't speak no English or something gay like that. Just kept on going, and no one else really seemed to bother us. And I was like telling the people at the Canadians here, and they're like, "Oh yeah, you can get a lot of trouble for that." So, fuck, what else happened? Oh, yesterday I went to Walmart, and I've actually got a video of it because Harry jumped on one of those fat people electric sort of scooter motherfucking things, and he jumps on it and goes for a bit of a hoon. And immediately, security guard's like, "Hey, you're not supposed to do that. Leave it for other people." And then, like a random citizen walking by, I was like, "No, hey, what do you think you're doing, man? That's not on." And Harry's like, "Oh, okay." And sort of like does a couple more laps, and then the security guard's like, "Hey, you should really leave that for someone who actually needs it." And as he says that, like a random lady pulls up, parks it, and then just gets off and walks off. Whatever. And it's really funny because he had a lot of trouble like finding the reverse button, so he couldn't like park it back up. So he's like doing fucking circles and shit. They're like, what are you doing, man? I don't know, it's just funny to me, because they're quite anal about stuff. Fair enough, but I don't know. Oh, bro, probably the best thing about this, mate, so far is I'm going to convince them, you know the word piao piao, right? So it's like kind of Maori slang. It might even be a Maori word, I'm not sure, of like sex, or like more specifically, you know, ejaculation of the penis, right? And I've convinced them that piao piao is a native New Zealand tree. So hopefully, I get that as my nature name, and that gets put up on the fucking board. So Kiwis, whenever they show up here, will see that word, be like, really? Which is really funny because it'll be kind of a legacy. Well, I'll just be a joke from sort of now on. But hopefully they don't catch on to that. I have told Zaya and Alex and Harry. Hopefully they don't spill the beans. It's fucking 10 o'clock now. And a guy called Nathan just showed up. Got to see what he's like. He isn't quite sure how to react around me. But I don't know, it'd probably be easy to take the piss out of. But we'll see. He looks like a fucking fit cunt. So he'll probably be burning me on the run tomorrow in the morning. We shall see. Might have to fucking break his ankle or some shit, eh? Yeah. 10 o'clock, really, my bedtime. It was pretty fucking cold today. And okay, this is just a thing. I'm not sure if all Canadians are like this, but it seems to me these two girls that are looking after us, like, they kind of start conversations by kind of complaining. So they'd be like, oh, you know, it's really cold, and then everyone would be like, oh yeah, you remember, you know, and they just like start talking about how cold it is, or like that day when it was really cold, or like, oh, you know, I'm so tired, and oh, you know, and just start kind of going off like that. Like, Alex isn't doing that, you know, she's a chick and everything, or whatever. I don't even know if that matters, but I don't know. Just before I fucking sign off, scared the shit out of the group walking back to the residence. Like me and Zaya, the Aussie, heading like the bushes, and as they walk past, like, because it's nighttime, they walk past, we just like sprang out, and they fucking, like, one of them screamed, because Harry was at the front, you know, like he normally is. Fucking like jumped back and shit. It was fucking hilarious. They have this thing called Fright Night. It's when you try and scare like everyone. I'm not sure. It might be a little game that they play, but I need to put in some plans. I'm gonna get that Fright Night going. I'll try and do another one, doing a video log on Tuesday, maybe Wednesday. We'll see how we're going. Yeah. That should be fun. Yeah. Alright, well, fucking have a good one. Yee.